We'll call this special meeting of the Board of Trustees on Friday, July 10th, 2015 to order with a roll call, please.
Veronica Frankel.
Present.
Howard Rosenberg.
Present.
Lisa Ruggiero.
I am present.
Nick Smith.
Here.
Angela Taylor.
I'm here.
John Mayer.
Here.
And I am present, Barbara McClory.
Okay, we'll stand for the pledge, and I'm going to ask Irene Paynes, since she did such a good job on the strategic plan, and after 2.5 years, gets to put it to bed.
I do. Okay.
Would you lead us in the
I
pledge,
will.
please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved, second, any second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So carried. Let the record show unanimously. This time is public comment. If you want to speak under any items, please fill out the yellow card. First, this one I don't know if she wants to speak on in general or on an item because she didn't put it down. Taylor.
Gwen Taylor?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, good.
You want to talk now or wait for 2:02?
Can I talk now? Because I may have to leave. Is that
Hey,
okay?
you can talk right now. You have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. My name is Gwen Taylor. I'm the pastor's wife of Greater Light Christian Center Church. Give honor to all of you school board members. You look so pretty, Veronica. You look beautiful. I like the haircut. Anyway, there goes 30 seconds of my time. Howard, you're always handsome. Anyway, I honor you, board. I do. I honor each and every one of you, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I am in here to support Miss Tracy Davis to become the superintendent of this Washoe County School District. I spoke at the last meeting when you guys voted her in, and I guess it wasn't on the agenda. Anyway, I want to support her. She's a wonderful person. You all know of her works. For African Americans and Hispanics and whites as well. Graduation rates are up. She has a heart for the children. This woman goes from church to church, community event to community event, and I just want to support her, and I just hope you all will support her and make her your permanent superintendent. And I love each and every one of you. Thank you all for what you're doing in this great community. It's hard work, all these meetings, and I appreciate you. Superintendent, you know I love you, and I appreciate you, and I honor you, and I give you, if I was voting, my vote. Thank you, guys. Oh, Angie, you look pretty, too.
Okay, and I think Dr. LaPenta wants to speak on item 2.02, so we'll have that. Is there any other?
Well, she's coming now.
Oh, you want to speak now?
No,
You either
let her
way.
speak.
You want to speak now? Go ahead.
I'll wait.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak that didn't fill out a card? Seeing none, we'll go on to our agenda items. First is 2.01, report to the board by Ms. Katie Simon Holland of Simon and Holland Associates on the results of the survey of public input regarding the desired characteristics of a person to be selected as superintendent for the district, discussion by the board, and receipt of comments from the public regarding the survey results, and possible action to accept the survey results and adopt the final report, or to request additional community input for discussion and possible action. The presenters are Dawn Huckabee, Katie Simon, and Sarah Hart.
Good afternoon.
President, Mayor, Interim Superintendent Davis, excuse me, and Board of Trustees. I'm Dawn Huckabee, Chief Human Resources Officer. We have with me Katie Simon, if you want to come up and join me, who worked on putting together the results of the survey that was initiated through our community and in schools and through our website. And she is here to present the results of that for discussion with the board. And I'm going to just turn this right over to her to start, and she has a presentation for you as well.
Thank you, Dawn. I'm President, Mayor, Interim Superintendent, and board members and council. Pleasure
we look
to be
pretty?
with you. You do look pretty. Lisa, you look pretty. Nick, you look pretty too. Barbara. I feel pretty. And Mike, you're ravishing as always, you know. And Ms. Davis, well, okay. Yes, we all feel pretty. And I appreciate that opening. And yes, you do have a difficult job, and we do honor you for your service because it is very tough what you're doing. I'm joined today by Sarah Hart from InfoSearch International, and we will go through the PowerPoint with you and answer any questions that you have. We appreciate having had the opportunity to do this project for you. We know it was important to you, and it was obviously very important to the 2,400 plus people who responded, which was just astonishing to me as well. So we will go forward through the presentation. Just want to reground our discussion, and I actually pulled forward slides that we had presented when we started this project. The purpose of the survey was to obtain the broadest possible community input regarding the ideal characteristics of the next superintendent. And again, it was designed to enable everyone who wanted to respond to do so, not to be a statistically significant random sample representative of the population. And I want to make sure that that we remind everyone of that as we review the results, because as we go through this, it's important to note that if 300 people said one thing, it doesn't mean that that's a majority of the community. It means that 300 people said that particular thing. And we know that the superintendent selection is the most important decision that you all make, and we heard that from you loud and clear throughout the process. We hope that the survey results can be used to help you guide your decision-making about the best candidate, and we also hope that the survey results can assist the next permanent superintendent in identifying the focus areas in addition to your excellent strategic plan. The timeline of the process that we've done, your HR folks initiated proposals or requests for proposals to gain community input about the process just in April, and then we submitted a proposal and you awarded us that on April 28th. We conducted interviews with each of you except for Mr. Smith, whom I was unable to make contact with. I think he was ill that week, and we'll talk about the results of those interviews in a moment. You approved the proposed survey instrument on May 19th. The survey was open from May 26th, the day after the Memorial Day weekend, through June 18th, and then the results were compiled and the analysis completed up until July 2nd, and now we're making our final report. To review the methodology, we had versions available in both English and Spanish, online and in paper and pencil versions. The survey was developed based on on the interviews I had with you and your comments, and was again approved by you in a public meeting. We had paper and pencil versions available here at the district office, at 8 Washoe County Library branches, at the Children's Cabinet, Truckee Meadows Boys and Girls Club, Evelyn Mount Community Center, and Neal Road Community Center. And as your staff capably advised me at the beginning, we love to have those surveys out in paper and pencil, and we rarely get many of them back. But on the paper survey, they were folks were encouraged to actually go to the website. So many of those folks who took those paper and pencil surveys may still have responded via online, even though they didn't turn them back in. We did have a few. I think we had four out of the 100 that we put at all those locations. We promoted the survey through the Washoe County School District website with an open link that was advertised. We had 3 news releases. We had a direct email invitation to folks that were on the school district email list provided by the staff, and then we actually had an email forward, which we deeply appreciated, sent to all the members of the Economic Development Authority, the Builders Association, and the Chamber, and we thank them for assisting us in that regard. So in total, we had 2,481 responses, which is just amazing to me. And I calculated out, and this is a public servant only would do this. That's the equivalent of 124 hours of public comment at 3 minutes each. 124 hours of public comment, or, and you'll appreciate this, 15.5 8-hour days of straight public comment. So you have gotten the voice of the people who responded very well. So we appreciate your giving us that opportunity. Going back to the trustee interviews, and I think you'll find that the responses to the survey parallel to a great degree the things that you said were important to you. It really, for me, in reading through it, it really validated what you said was important. Classroom experience and instructional knowledge, financial management, budgeting and priority setting, management of a large and complex organization. And for many folks, that would not be the first thing they would think of in a school superintendent, but yet the public responses, people definitely understand this is a very large business enterprise. I think something yesterday I read in the paper said this was the largest employer in the region. So that's it is a large and complex organization, and then working effectively with a diverse population of students. Most important skills, again, you'll see a parallel with what the public said: visioning and strategic planning, inspiring others to join, to rally the community around the strategic plan and the vision for the agency. Ability to relate well to diverse people. We have a diverse community, and it will continue to grow in its diversity. Listening and interpersonal communication, again, highly important for the variety of venues in which a superintendent must be effective. Management and leadership skills, and the ability to hire and lead an outstanding staff. And then most important, values and personal qualities. Honesty and integrity, and again, we'll see a strong parallel. Trustworthiness. And I had a comment from a person who filled out the survey, because in the survey, we asked them to rank qualities, as you know, which was very difficult for many people, very challenging, because people would say, all of these things are important. How can you say one thing is more important than another? And I had a wonderful philosophical conversation one afternoon about the difference between honesty and trustworthiness, and we have both of those things, honest and trustworthy, on the survey. So many people gave a lot of thought to this, and really teased out the things that were important to them. Deep concern for children, putting students first, having a focus on our children. Compassion, kindness, respect, collaboration, desire to make people feel heard and supported, passion for excellence, and that the person be a visionary. So the next part of our presentation, again, that's setting our historical framework, and then the next part of the presentation is looking really at the analytics of what we heard from respondents to the survey, and I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Hart. I'm the Director of Research for InfoSearch International, and I want to echo what Katie has said in terms of our appreciation for the opportunity to conduct this survey. By way of background, we used the highlights of the trustee interviews to springboard discussion about what contents should be on the questionnaires. I use plural only, that there was in English and in Spanish, but essentially on the questionnaire. And we looked at all of these qualities, and if there was just ratings, we would have had a lot of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, everything's important. So the reason that we went with ranking was to find out, given that everything's important, what rises to the top as being most important. And I say this partly to reemphasize that the things that rank low does not mean that they are unimportant, only that other things rank higher in importance, because we've found out from our comments section that really all of these qualities are something that you want to consider, just what's most important for you to consider. There were, as you may recall, 3 different blocks of rankings. We asked for a block of rankings about specialized skills, 8 of them, a block of rankings about areas of expertise, and a block of rankings about personal characteristics, and we'll take them one at a time. So moving forward, here are the key findings of the specialized skills. Each skill was ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, or 8, and 93%, or excuse me, 92% were able to rank the specialized skills. Some people did take the survey but skipped right to the comments, so not everybody ranked these, but 92% did. And each specialized skill received a ranking of 1 from somebody and received a ranking of 8 from somebody. These are shown here from highest to lowest. And as you may recall, with ranking, the number that's more towards 1 is higher, where the number that's more towards 8 is lower. So as you can see here, the highest ranking item was for planning and visioning overall, followed by problem solving and people management, your top 3 ranking items. The middle group, organizational management, interpersonal communication, and financial management. And the 2 lowest ranking items, and again, it doesn't mean that they're unimportant, but were teaching skills and data-driven decisions. So that gives you some idea of what people were looking for. In summary, if you were to say, well, what skills must this next superintendent have? Planning and visioning, problem solving, and people management rise to the top of the skills that people are looking for. The next slide shows you, we took a look at 6 different demographic items, and the one that was most informative in terms of there being differences between subgroups was their relationship to the Washoe County School District. So here we looked at 5 different relationships. We looked at parents, students, teachers, other Washoe County School District employees, and community members. And we found that there were statistically significant differences in how they rank items. So overall, Washoe County School District parents provided the highest rank values for planning and visioning, as well as financial management. Again, that doesn't mean that others consider that unimportant. It's just that for parents, those are somewhat more important than they are for some of the other groups. What rises to the top for students compared to some of the others, problem-solving skills and data-driven decision-making skills. For teachers, people management, interpersonal communication, and teaching skills. And for community members, organizational management skills. Also as noted here in the last bullet, let me flip to there. Teaching skills had the largest standard deviation. So we don't just look at mean rank values, we look at the standard deviation of the 8 specialized skills. And teaching skills had both the second highest percentage who ranked at number 1 and the highest percentage who ranked at number 8 or last. So in other words, respondents differed the most about whether they want the next superintendent to have teaching skills. And we saw that in the comments as well. This is something that people view differently. But I think that to understand that, it's actually helpful to look at our next block of 8 items, which is the area of expertise. Here you can see the number 1 ranked item of the 8 that were measured was leadership and personnel management, followed by strategic planning and classroom experience. And so if you think, well, classroom experience ranks 3rd here, why is that? And if I were to be asked to interpret that, what I would tell you is what people are saying collectively, not necessarily to the specific individual, but as a collective, is that they're not looking for somebody who was necessarily teacher of the year. They're looking for somebody who has come up through the ranks, who understands what it means to actually be in a classroom and to have some experience there, hands-on experience. So that's, I think, how that blends together. Also ranking, number 4 was community leadership and partnerships, followed by budget development, government affairs, labor relations, and public relations. Again, all of these things were ranked 1st by somebody. All of these things were ranked 8th by somebody, and every ranking in between. So it shows you that there's not necessarily consensus, but if you're looking at what's most important, 2 of these things have a mean ranking, a rank value in the 3s. Leadership, including personnel management, and strategic planning, somebody who can think and think ahead. In terms of how this differed by the different Washoe County School District categories, parents provided the highest ranked values for strategic planning and budget development. Students, the highest ranked values for public relations and media relations. They care how this is, Washoe County School District is perceived. Teachers provided, excuse me, the highest ranked value for classroom experience, and community members provided the highest ranked values for leadership and personnel management. In terms of the personal characteristics, we asked people to rank 14 of them, not just 6. Of the 14, we asked people to rank 6, and what I'm showing you here are the top 6. So in terms of what is it that we want our next superintendent to be, the top 3, student-focused, honest, and trustworthy, followed by being a visionary, intelligent, and passionate about excellence. In the 14 that we measured, but not making the top 6, were, in order, collaborative, transparent, resourceful, responsive, good listener, inspirational, compassionate, and inclusive. Again, those things are all important, and we saw that certainly in the comments. People do want people who are inspirational, compassionate, and inclusive. Those just don't rise to the top in terms of what we really need is somebody who's focused on students and is honest and trustworthy. And there are some, again, differences by Washoe County School District relationships, with parents providing the highest ranked values for being student-focused, passionate about excellence, and resourceful. It was somewhat interesting to me that it wasn't students who said you have to be student-focused. Number one, it was parents who said, we want you focused on our students. Students provided the highest ranked values for honest, trustworthy, a good listener and compassionate, somebody who feels for the students. Washoe County School District teachers said our superintendent has to be an intelligent, lifelong learner and collaborative, somebody who's willing to work with us. The community members said, look, we need this person to be visionary and forward-thinking and transparent. Level with us in the community. We need to know what's going on. So in summary, those are the key characteristics and some of the differences between them. I have a few slides for you of demographics, and we won't spend too much time on these slides, but I did want to make sure that you had the data. As you can see here, the people who responded to the survey tended to be more often than in the general community to be white in the age 35 to 54-year-old age group and female. Some of this may reflect folks who are Washoe County School District employees and or parents and who are focused on education. It isn't to say that other folks are not. I know that there are fathers out there who are very focused on education. It may just be that, as we found here, in terms of there were a higher percentage of mothers of Washoe County School District students who responded than fathers. Fathers may have another way of communicating with you. In terms of some additional demographics here, just again to go through these fairly quickly. In terms of their relationship, almost half of the people who responded were in fact parents or guardians of students, with another 21%, 1 out of 5, being employees who are teachers, 11% community members, and you can see the rest of the distribution here. In terms of gender, 71% of the respondents were female, 29% male. And in the report, I detail and analyzed all the different ways of looking at the demographics. I wanted to just highlight a few of the differences and findings by demographics. So, for instance, in terms of specialized skills, men provided higher ranked values for both organizational management and financial management skills than did women, while women provided higher ranked values for both problem-solving skills and teaching skills than did men. Again, both genders may think it's important. If someone comes up to you and says, well, I think that's important too, it's what we're telling you is more sort of overall in the collective what some of the patterns are that we found. For age, which you also see here in more detail than just the other groups that we had, I want to highlight a couple of the other findings. In general, the younger the respondent, the more likely they were to provide higher ranked values for problem-solving skills and teaching skills. Older respondents were more likely than younger to provide higher ranked values for people management, organizational management, and interpersonal communication. Here you see the demographic split by the length of residence in Washoe County. When we typically do studies, it's not unusual to see 50% or more of the folks, or people who have been here for 20 years or more, and that was true in this study as well. For the most part, there were very minor differences by length of residency. I'll give you one example. Respondents who have resided in Washoe County for 20 or more years provided a higher rank value for leadership and personnel management than did those who have lived in Washoe County less than 10 years, although both rank it very high. Here you can see area of residence, with most coming from Reno, probably a slightly higher proportion than we would normally see coming from Reno as opposed to, say, Sparks or other Washoe County. There were no significant differences by area, which I thought was interesting, none. And race, ethnicity, there were also not many differences. The chart here that shows you people were allowed to have multiple responses. When we did the analysis, we looked at white Caucasians who were non-Hispanic, that subgroup. And for the most part, there weren't differences, but I'll give you a couple. Hispanic Latino respondents ranked problem-solving skills number 1, while white Caucasian non-Hispanic respondents and other race ethnicity respondents ranked planning and visioning skills number 1. But note that all race ethnic groups studied ranked both those skills, that is problem solving skills and planning visioning skills, either number 1 or number 2. So even when there were differences, it wasn't profound. Probably the one that we found maybe the most differences, that Hispanic Latino respondents provided a higher rank value for being a good listener than did white Caucasian respondents, where Hispanic Latinos ranked at number 6 and white Caucasians ranked at number 11. So again, it could be important to everyone, but being a good listener was a factor. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Katie.
And are there any questions so far? Anything yet? Okay, well, we'll have more opportunity to ask questions if you have any. This list just gives you a sort of a panorama of the words that were used in the comment section. And these are, I want to highlight, these are words besides the words we had offered, because we put many words into the ranking. These are additional words, although the concepts may be very similar. And again, those 2 open-ended questions. What's the most important thing you want the Board of Trustees to know about the qualifications of the next superintendent? And then is there anything else you would like to add to help the board in selecting the superintendent? And as you saw from the 160 pages of single-space comments, people had a lot to say. And I will give great kudos to my colleague, Mr. Malloy, who spent many hours on the phone with me trying to figure out the best way to present that information, because of course some of it is helpful and some of it is not helpful, and some of it's constructive and some of it is not constructive. And we all landed on the conclusion that the district wanted transparency in this process, and you wanted to have those comments presented as they were provided to us. So you got all of them. The next slide, I enjoy doing this process of a word cloud when we have responses to an open-ended question. And the only thing that's really a highlight about this word cloud is that the word that was mentioned most frequently was students. And the fact that student-focused came out at the top of the list of priorities was no surprise and very consistent, but I think it's wonderful to see that. Respondents differed on whether to have a national search. And again, we didn't ask the question specifically, and we did not have a representative sample. So you have a compilation of comments about this, and I won't read through all of these, but these sort of reference the general themes of comments that you received. Please conduct a national search and find a candidate who has a demonstrated track record, versus don't spend money on a nationwide search, hire someone from within, no more nationwide searches. We did have many comments that if you had a chance to look through the comment section, you did see many comments that said don't hire someone, is it Broad, The Broad. Yeah, that one was certainly, I wouldn't have been surprised if Broad didn't show up on the word cloud. But that was quite significant. So just some samples of the comments on that. And then we also, and bless her heart, Sarah went through every single one of those comments and counted up, and you see them categorized in your report by topic. She went through every single one and gave them a topic. And the most frequently mentioned open-ended comment, 308 people mentioned wanting classroom or educational experience. And again, to keep this in perspective, this is not a representative sample, number one, and number two, 300 people is 12% of the people that responded to the survey. So it may be highly important to those 308 people. It may be important to the 2,100 people who didn't say it, but it was the most frequently mentioned single comment that we could track. And again, someone who's student-focused, a proven track record, experience in a similar position. We saw that quite often in the open-ended comments. Someone wanted somebody who had experience leading a similar size and complexity of organization. The intelligent, visionary, strategic thinker that we've heard about already, the integrity, honesty. Someone local with strong community ties. And again, great, strong feelings on both sides of whether this should be someone local or someone who can, and may be local, but comes with the best and brightest ideas. Supports teachers and employees, someone who will stay long-term, and that was a hot button for many of the respondents. Someone who would be here for a good long time and was not using this, to quote some of the respondents, as a stepping stone to something else. And then somebody who had business and financial management. There were, as you know, many other categories and many other comments, but these were the ones that were most prevalent. And then some of the examples of general comments about the process. Transparent process is integral to ensuring confidence in the selection. Be careful, take your time, be diligent. I thought this was interesting. Choose them as if you were deciding on a surgeon's skills to save your loved one's life. Offer an open forum for parents to hear the philosophies of each final candidate. Make sure the process is well advertised. See the person in action, leading a meeting and collaborating with coworkers. Use a common sense, pragmatic, facts-only approach. And then several people said, and thank you for asking. So that is the end of our formal presentation, and we would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you, President Mayer.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, we have a motion to
I motion that we accept the results of the survey.
continue regarding what it is.
Regarding the
Desired
characteristics. I
characteristics.
don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I can't read that small print, sorry.
What it says, huh?
Vice President, why don't you read it for her?
Okay, I'm happy to read this for my colleague. She moves that the Board of Trustees accepts the results of the community survey regarding the desired characteristics of a person to be selected as superintendent and adopts the final report by Simon and Associates.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Opposed, same signal. So carried. Let the record show unanimously. Thank you for all your hard
Thank you.
work. We really appreciate it. It was well done. Okay, now moving on to agenda item 2.02. Discussion by the board and receipt of comments from the public regarding the next steps in the process of selecting a superintendent and consideration of possible action on the following alternative options. 1, appointment of Ms. Tracy Davis as superintendent of schools pursuant to NRS 391.110, subject to negotiation and approval of an appropriate written employment agreement. Number 2, to direct staff to seek proposals from professional consultants to conduct a regional and national search for qualified candidates to apply for the superintendent position. Or 3, to direct staff members themselves to conduct such a regional or national search for qualified candidates for discussion and possible action. And this is, the presenters are the Board of Trustees. Okay, Mr. Rosenberg.
Okay, you're gonna start with me?
Yes.
Okay. I've made my feelings about this abundantly clear. So, in that spirit, I move that the Board of Trustees appoints Ms. Tracy Davis as Superintendent of Schools for the Washoe County School District pursuant to Nevada Revised Statute 391.110, subject to negotiation and approval of an appropriate written employment agreement. We have seen a 1-year audition. I don't think you could ever possibly know anyone any better than we know Ms. Davis. She has done the state of the state. Graduation rates are up. I don't know how to say this nicely. There was a feeling of fear in this place that seems largely to have dissipated, and I'm very grateful for that. She knows how to lead a meeting. She's been all over the district. I don't know how she does it. I think that that's all that we need to make an educated, informed decision. That's my motion.
Is there a second to his motion?
Second.
It's been seconded by Dr. McCleary.
Have some discussion.
Well, we will.
Good.
We'll let the seconder start first, okay? Did you have something to say?
Yes, I do. I'm very aware of the survey and the skills that were enumerated. I went through everything, read everything, and I also believe that the district needs stability. I think that it's time for us to move forward with our strategic plan under the leadership of Interim Superintendent Davis. My belief is that we need a student focus. We need someone who is honest and someone whom we can trust. And those are my primary reasons, along with all of this visionary and the leadership and the personnel management. I have no doubt in my mind, and I was reluctant in the initial stages of all of this to know whether or not she could do that, because my relationship with her was not as strong as my relationship with Pedro. And I believe that the things that we have occurred in this interim period have demonstrated clearly to me that she has the skills, the sensibilities, the heart, the passion, and she loves all students. We sat here this morning working on the strategic plan, and I believe that everything that we have talked about, she fully understands, internalizes, and is able to visualize and put together the reports that we're going to get from some of the special ed and gifted and talented concerns that were enumerated over the summer months will in fact be solved under her leadership. So I feel fully confident that Tracy Davis will take us to the next level of expertise by not only engaging every child by name and face to graduation, but by having all children's needs met in the best way we possibly can do that, while taking into consideration the diversity issues, the equity issues, the ability issues of not only our children, but of all of our staff members, including our principals. The leadership in this district, in my opinion, is exemplary, and we will go and become better at everything that we have done, because the school board really does understand what systemic change in education is all about. We truly know that we've had many children left behind. We truly know that in special education, we have over-identification of certain populations. We have children whose disabilities are not fully understood. We have many changes in this system over the course of the last 40 years that I've been involved with it. And my belief is that it's time for us to move into the 21st century and to put Tracy Davis at the leadership of Washoe County School District. We are Washoe County School District.
Mr. Smith?
You know, I read through a lot of the comments, and I respect Katie's advice that this is not a representative sample of our community, but it is a sample to me of the people who took the time to do the survey. And the one thing that I hear from the people who took the time to do the survey, and for unknown reasons, there are reasons that people didn't take the survey that maybe they wanted to, that they couldn't. We don't know. So I know that there are people who also feel this way. I think that it's important that we follow a process. Process has to be key. That's what I hear, and that's what I read into the comments. You know, the 7 of us may have had a interview with Tracy, some of us for a year, and some of us for 5 or 6 months. But that doesn't make up the rest of the community. At the end of the day, we have to respect the community's opinions and needs. They need transparency. I think that the best way to do it is not to appoint Tracy Davis today. Tracy Davis is a strong woman, and if she would choose to apply for that position, I think that we should do that in a regional format. We should direct our staff to do that and hire a consultant firm so that way we can find somebody from Northern Nevada who's interested. By appointing Tracy Davis, I think we have to ask ourselves, what was the question? And I think that's what we forget. The question is, who is the best person to lead our school district? We know Tracy Davis's abilities, and this isn't about Tracy Davis, it's all about process. But you don't know what you don't know, and in this case, we don't know who we haven't talked to. And that's an issue for me. I think that this is a time for us to find somebody where the community says, we want somebody to be here long term, we want somebody we can trust, we want somebody who cares about students. And it's important to me that we look at all of those options that are available. There are people in this room who may want to be the superintendent outside of Tracy Davis, but I haven't had the opportunity to speak to them because we haven't made that opportunity available. We have to do our due diligence and listen to the people. At the end of the day, we could decide to hire Tracy Davis. Very possible, but we did that by utilizing a process. It's got to be with the process. That's what we're here to do. We cannot run a school district based off of how we feel. And if we appoint Tracy Davis, it's a school district off of feeling. That sends the wrong message to me. We have to follow processes. Like our strategic plan took 2.5 years in the making. There's a reason for that, because there was a lot of processes that we checked. Even today, there were some processes that we checked and made some recommendations to. We have to do that. Same thing with our superintendent. Not just this superintendent, but any superintendent that we hire. This district has in the past gone through the process of hiring superintendents and done it in a very positive way, putting our candidates in front of the school board, putting them in front of forums with peoples where they can come and speak. And that's the process that we need to do. Whether it's Tracy Davis or Mark Twain, we don't know. But we're not doing the right thing by appointing anybody today to superintendent. We have got to go through a process and make that very public. And that's what I think we should do.
Thank you. Trustee Frankel.
And I think many of you know, I mean, it was 4 months ago today that we had the conversation about the superintendent search process in Natchez. It was actually exactly 4 months ago. And I made the comment about process as well. And I think the input from the community has reinforced for me the importance of a process that is transparent and visible to the public, where the public has the opportunity for input. I too read all of the comments, in fact read the answers to question 2, all 1,450 of them 3 times. Both the last 2 times in an attempt to glean how many people actually answered the question that we did not end up asking, which was about the process that we're using to make this decision. And what I found was that there were 340 people who basically said in one way, shape, or form that we should use some sort of process with an interview, a search, a selection, public vetting, transparency, taking our time to select the best person. And there were 80 people who said we should just move forward and appoint. So that stands out for me, and I would agree with Trustee Smith that this is an opportunity for us to actually ourselves interview a candidate. I mean, I would prefer that there be more than one. I think I've always said that. From my background, I think it's shown me that that lends credibility and legitimacy to a position. What I also realize is that people don't know Tracy. I mean, I heard that in the survey results, and I think if nothing else, we want to not necessarily make a decision today, but have an opportunity for there to be some public forums. And like I said, I would have preferred that there be multiple candidates, more than one, but if we have one, let's let that person answer questions from the public so that we can build that understanding and people can get to know the candidate. I myself would also like to ask some questions of candidates in terms of vision and plan and direction. And I understand that many of you have worked with Tracy longer than I have. I've been here for 6 months. And so I haven't had those dialogues. And in this conversation, we haven't heard from Tracy. So in some ways, I think that's also a piece that's been missing, is hearing from her and allowing her to answer questions from us and from the public. So I too do not support the concept of appointing today, and my vote is primarily on process as well. And that's, I mean, in terms of how I would vote on the standing motion before us.
Okay, any other comments? We do have one comment from the public, Dr. LaPenta. If you would like to make comments, get the cards, get a card. And you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. President, Mayor, Interim Superintendent Davis, and members of the Board of Trustees. First of all, I want to let you know that I hold each of you in high regard for having to go through this process and make these tough decisions, and the tough decisions that you have to make on a weekly basis. Because I'm not somebody who normally does public comment. In fact, this is the second time I've ever done it, so it's both been for the same thing, so you know how I feel about it. I came to Reno in the early 90s and taught for a few years, and my husband's job took us out of the area. And I longed to come back here because I loved the small town feel of Reno. And I think that in the year that I've worked with Tracy as the interim superintendent, and the year before that as the deputy, that she embodies that small town feel. Because if she's going to ask you a question, it's like, what about the kids? That's her question. What is it that you're doing is going to make things better for the kids? So I would also tell you that I think that she's a fantastic candidate, and I 100% support her to be superintendent. But I would also caution you that if you go out for a search now, I'm a little concerned about who we're going to get that would leave their school district in the beginning or even the middle of the year, and what kind of integrity they would have and what their character would be. And with that said, I want to tell you that I, again, support Tracy 100%. I respect that this is a difficult decision for you, but I would hope that you would choose Tracy so that we can have a superintendent, a contracted superintendent, to start the school year with. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Nathan Dupree.
As you can see, my uncle is coming with me.
You don't trust you.
You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Trustee Board. Again, as it has already been stated, we truly honor you for the task that you have ahead of you, and the consideration of Tracy Davis as being a superintendent. I have some things here that I wanted to share about Tracy Davis and why I am in support of her being the school superintendent. She's all about the kids. And I think as we looked at the statistics today, it was a emphasis on the students and the kids. I cannot get out of a conversation with her without her saying it's all about the kids. She's driven by that motto. That's the theme of what drives her in her job. Secondly, she's a Nevadan. She's here. You know, the history, I believe, of this school district is kind of, people use this place almost like for a platform and they go somewhere. She's in Nevada, and I know this is inappropriate English, but she ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. She's here. She's in this community, and I just feel like she has been in this community. She's vested here, and she's one of us. She's a team player. She works with her board. And I was kind of disturbed yesterday by the article in the paper appointing someone without an interview. And I feel like, as it had already been echoed, she's been interviewed over the last several months to a year. You know who you're going to get. You've seen her work. And what you're going to get is someone who works hard, someone who is transparent, someone who is equitable, someone who is fair and reasonable, someone who is knowledgeable, someone who is skillful, someone who is a visionary, someone who is going to work in the community because she is for her community. And that's what she does. You know you're going to get someone that works hard. As Howard would say, I don't know how she does it. She's all over this district. She's all over the place trying to make this school district a better school district, and working together and being that team player and working hard with you guys to make that happen. I think you represent the people. You represent your constituents. And I know of some voting processes that, you know, there are very different opinions, and even the people who are stating these opinions that we sometimes, you know, elevate, but, you know, that maybe shouldn't even be entertained. But I want to say this, the last thing I'm going to say about Tracy Davis. She's called to this. And when I say that, I say that this way. People ask me sometimes, being a local pastor, why do you do what you do? Why do you deal with tragedy, you go to death, you talk with divorced kids who are going through this and do this, and why are you always in these places of doing these different things? And no matter how hard and difficult it is, I'm called to do it, and I never get tired of it. She's called to do this. Her life is about kids, education. She's called to do this job. And so I would say to you, trustee board, that you would be getting the best candidate that you would be getting today out of Tracy Davis. And I think you would be making the best decision today by appointing her as the Washoe County School District Superintendent.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I'm glad you brought Diddle along with you. Okay, next is Reverend Lufkin. Mickey Lufkin.
Board of Education and Community. I want you to know I wrote this out 45 minutes ago. I began teaching in 1969 in Stockton, California. I hold a lifetime California credential, Nevada teaching credential, Oregon substitute credential, and a master's degree. I taught special education in Oakland, California, 1975. I taught overseas in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm a passionate teacher. It never entered my mind to be an administrator. Administrators are well intended, but they don't teach. I have 8 years of administration. I ran an outreach for the homeless here, a Christian outreach called Center Street Mission. I managed millions of dollars. We took over 7,000 people off our streets. I know a lot of people in this community that helped. I represent over 200,000 Christians in this area who read and try to obey the Lord and His Word. The Word teaches us to obey authorities that God has preordained, except when they step on God's laws. Then we must obey God and not man. I also represent over 80,000 senior citizens in this area who worked hard all their lives and now find that they are subsidizing through their taxes incompetent federal and local governments. I represent many local service clubs who spend thousands of hours raising money to help our students. Lastly, I also represent our classified personnel, like secretaries and custodians and lunchroom workers, who are the ones who really administrate our public schools. You, our elected school board, are public representatives. You're public servants, as are the city council and our other government agencies. I want to be considered for the position of teaching superintendent. I want no pay. We have over 250 administrators getting paid from $100,000 to $300,000 a year in this system. We need passionate teachers. We need people that get along with people, that know people locally. I've been here since 1984. I know thousands of people in this area. I have a passion for teaching. I recently went into our public schools in the first grade, the third grade, and middle school. And I was teaching wonderful kids through junior achievement. Wonderful kids with great imagination. They fell in love with me and vice versa. We need to change the curriculum of our schools. We need to get back to the 3 R's. We need this community to work together. We are 50th out of 50 states. It's embarrassing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Mike Kate.
Mr. President, members of the board, my main concern here is I've seen the process go through 2 or 3 times, and it's long, it's involved, and not always the right choices are made in the process. Very rarely can you go into a store, get a pair of shoes, wear them for 8 months, and either take them back or not. This is a situation where you have a great person here. I've never heard one derogatory remark about Tracy the whole time she's been in her position. Not one. And I will say I can't say that about everybody else. So this is a situation where you as board members need to make the decision you are put here to do, and that is to make a superintendent or hire a superintendent and one that will lead this school district. Administrators, teachers, principals, I have not talked to any of them, and I'm somewhat involved in this district. And nobody has said one thing bad. And it's frustrating as hell to see all this process going on, read the papers. If they want to meet Tracy, pick up the phone and ask her for a meeting. And this is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So do your job, get this done. You got 64,000 kids out there that are relying on somebody to be a leader. That's what you have to think about. Not you, not getting reelected, not anything else, those kids. And she's the one to lead them right now. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. That's all the cards that I have. Is there anyone else that didn't fill out a card and would like to speak and then fill out a card? Yes. Yeah, you have 3 minutes, but make sure you fill out a card.
I promise. President and members of the board, Mary Alber. Thank you very much for this discussion and the meaningful sort of dialogue around the pros and cons of different choices that you're facing, very difficult choices. I just wanted to put forth, there's been a lot of advocates and wonderful things said about Tracy, and I know everything is true and honest, but I also want to speak for the community's points of views that were expressed by Mr. Smith and Mrs. Frankel, which is that we don't all of us know Tracy as well as you do. And we do want that opportunity to hear and have those dialogues about what she represents, what her vision is, all that good stuff. And if there are other candidates, which there appear to be, let's hear from them too. Why not? It's a learning process about where the state of education is, nationally, and where Washoe County's vision is relative to that. So I understand the issue about looking now. It's not the time to be doing a superintendent search, unfortunately. So that leads to some challenges about the candidates that might be available to interview with this district. I'm not sure how to get around that unless you make it a year-long process when the candidates do become available in the spring. So just wanted to put that out there and also reiterate that you guys are doing an amazing job and considering massive challenges and lots of data, and you're doing a great job. And let's keep it going so that the community can feel confident that the decision your most important decision is being made with the most amount of information and wisdom behind it. Thank you.
Make sure you make out a card for us, please. they're out on the table. Anyone else want to make a comment?
You have a comment?
No, I'm talking to the public right now. Anybody, if not, we'll bring it back to the board. Anyone want to make a comment?
Said everything I need to say.
Well, so any more comments from Trustee Taylor? Do you have anything you'd like to talk
Oh, yeah, I was
about?
about to.
Go ahead. No, you go. Go ahead.
Oh, there's
Okay.
no bless
Go
or
ahead.
bleach is enough to kill you.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that I'm grateful for all the comments that we got from the survey. I think it's just remarkable that many people care about education, and so for all that took the time, thank you for those that wanted to take the time and couldn't. You know, we know education is on the mind of so many people. There were a lot of things that I was thinking about and praying about this morning. Also, one of the comments asked us to pray, because I was one of those that read all of them, but not 3 times. And so I was doing some of that this morning and really thinking about, man, this is a heavy day. Not in a bad way, but there are a lot of big decisions from a strategic planning standpoint that we need to make. Obviously, the most important thing in the world we do is to select a superintendent. And I was really I wasn't landing anywhere. Just had a lot of that going on in my mind as I was getting dressed. And then I turned on TV, and I saw what was going on in Charleston, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I saw the flag coming down, and regardless of whatever side on the issue that you're on, that's so much bigger than what we're doing. Not because what we're doing doesn't matter, but that has such national significance that it made me just kind of put some things into perspective for me personally. It's like, wow, as much as I'm feeling like here's some heavy stuff, man, that was some heavy stuff that they had to go through. You know, so it kind of puts me in all the great things that were heard, that we heard. I think there are a tremendous amount of excellent things that we have in Interim Superintendent Davis. I've said those comments before, and considering, and I read every one of those 1,450 comments because it was important to do. And I know that as I was taking some notes as we were receiving the report from our consultants, that the top in each of the areas, skills, areas of expertise, and personal characteristics, I do think we have that in Tracy Davis. The planning and visioning, the leadership, personal management, and certainly, of course, has been spoken to directly was student focused. I'm also having in my mind the time that from a school year standpoint, this isn't a great time to do a search, and we want to have the best possible opportunity to make the best possible hire that we can. You know, I'm also considering the fact that I know that I don't have any doubts in my mind that Tracy can do the job, because she's done the job. So she has tremendous areas of expertise. And certainly there's some areas that we know that she can improve in, because we all have areas that we all can improve in, that we can improve upon. You know, and I also have that it's important to me from a board member standpoint that we consider the comments that doesn't mean we do everything that everyone says, but we consider those comments, which I believe that we have. I certainly know that I have. And doing something to help regain the public's trust, I think it's important as well. You know, so what I kind of like to throw out for my colleagues to think about is, because in my mind I'm thinking, how do we put all this together? Because all of those things are meaningful to me in my decision making. Is how do we put all those things together? Is you know, can we do something? And, you know, can we say we want, because I believe Tracy Davis is going to make a tremendous superintendent. I do think so. Do we get to a middle ground, if you will, similar to what they did in Clark County, where they were in a difficult situation with their superintendent, and we extend an appropriate contract, negotiate and so on, for 1 year. Maybe dating it July 1 to June 30th. That's because we wouldn't want anyone else to take over anyway, if we were going to wait until July 1 next year anyway. For a year, and in that process, and she's not interim superintendent, she's superintendent. Listening to what Dr. LaPenta said as well, I think that's important. She's done a tremendous job under very difficult circumstances, and I think it's important that we're fair to her as well. And, you know, maybe during that year we're very deliberate about giving people opportunities to ask some questions if they want to ask some questions. If they say, I want to have an opportunity to get to know Tracy Davis a little bit better, to be very deliberate about that. and you know, again, give that opportunity, but at the same time, solve our problem. Just something I want to kind of get some feedback on.
Okay, anyone else have comment?
I have comment, and then I think I'm ready to.
Well, there's a motion on
Oh,
the floor,
okay.
so as soon as the
Okay.
comments are done, we'll have a vote on the motion.
I think it's time to move forward, and I couldn't be more honored to move forward and support the motion that's on the table to appoint Tracy Davis as our superintendent for the Washoe County School District. And I was so appreciative of the comments that came in through the survey. I've been so appreciative of the comments that I've heard from many members of the community, from our faith-based representatives to individuals who represent members of our minority community and minority representatives, to folks from the business community, from the builders to the AGC, our realtors. I've had an opportunity to speak with members of my homeowners associations that represent the district that I represent, but students. I've also had an opportunity to talk with many of our students and also many of our parents, and they're looking for stability, and they're looking for someone who can take us to the next level. But also what they're looking for is someone who can continue the momentum, and that's to continue the momentum of high graduation rates and doing well on test scores and having our children achieve, and we're doing that. And we've been doing that for 3 years under the leadership of Tracy Davis. And I think that's something that we need to consider when we make this decision today. That this isn't just someone who we're just meeting. This isn't someone who's just been in the position for a year. This is someone who's been in the position for 3 years, who's been responsible for the academics of this school district. And the proof is in our graduation rates. The facts are there. With all due respect, Trustee Nick, it's not based off of emotion, it's based off of facts. Our numbers show the success that we've had under the leadership of Deputy Superintendent Davis and now Interim Superintendent, and I hope to be Superintendent Davis. I am all about process. I appreciate process. However, there gets to a point where we're elected in this position to make decisions. It's representative government. And there's been many disagreement on what should happen today. Some people think we should go out for a search. Others think we should continue this process for a year. And I'm here to represent the individuals that I spoke with, the members of the community, and they're ready for us to move forward. We have many things that we are facing in this district. This has been a tough, for me personally on this board, it's been a tough time. We have faced suicides in the North Valleys. We have faced school shootings at Sparks Middle School. We have faced fighting for legislation to have school buildings built. We have work to do. And to continue this process and continue this process and continue this process is not in the best interest of our kids. And that's why I'm here. I'm here for the kids. I'm here to make decisions that are in the best interest of our kids, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to call for the vote.
I want to make a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry,
first.
Mr. Mayor. I got it.
That's all right. Cut me off at the knees. I don't care. You know, I only have one comment, and that is I was in the Dairy Queen down in Sparks, and a bunch of the high school kids from Sparks were in there, and they saw the article in the paper. And they said, Mr. Mayor, we know you know Miss Davis. And I says, yes, I do. And they said, we know in our hearts that Tracy Davis loves us. And guess what? We love her. We love her. And I think that says more than any of the facts, figures, or whatever. If kids can feel a person's love for them, it's real. And that's what we want. And so, therefore, I'm going to support the motion. And I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
2 noes, and aye. Okay, it was 5-2. Motion passes. Washoe County, you have a great new superintendent. You can erase the interim on the before her name. Thank you very much. Now we have, does she want to speak?
I feel like it's deja vu, but the work we do really is about kids, every child by name and face to graduation. When I came here, that was a discussion we started with about how do we move from being good to great. But it's not singularly about me as a superintendent. It is about every piece that makes this such a great district, from the bus driver to the teacher to the lunch lady to the person in grounds to the person who cleans up the throw up to the board. It is an effort of everyone, including the community and the parents, that we make this a successful district. So as I am appreciative of this opportunity, and as you know, the work continues from what I was doing yesterday to Monday. We move forward as we look at what's going on in Congress with the ESEA reauthorization, things that we have going on with capital needs. There's a lot of work to be done, and we're still driving to do that work. It won't change on Monday because I was already planning on doing that work, so I'll just do it without interim in front of my name.
All right, 301 public comment. Is there anyone that would like to make some public comment? Seeing none, our meeting is adjourned.
Oh, that's it? It's over?